No, first of all, I want to thank all of you for coming out this afternoon, this evening. What really makes a get-together like this is the people that show up.
Hey guys, everybody, if you're in, quiet. If you're out, good. Quiet out there too. Everybody wants to hear what's going on here, okay?
All right, once again, just want to thank you all for coming out tonight. And as I had just said, it really, the party is the people that showed up, and I'm so thrilled to see all of you here. Now, don't jump out of your seats, but like I said, the 70s and the 80s will be closed at 8 o'clock or just shortly after that. But before we do that, that's right, 70s and 80s are old, they need to go to bed. Anyhow, there's a few people that would love to have a few words with you, with this group. So I would like to invite up Rudy Wheeler to begin.
Each one of you in this room, if you did go to West Park, whether you were there in the 70s or 80s or 90s or 2000s, you have a memory about your involvement in sport, particularly sport. And being a high school student is one of the unique times in your life. It's one of the special times in your life because there's a purity to that time period that I don't think you appreciate until you actually finish. Some of you had tough times getting to that end. Most of you made it. Obviously, you're in the room, so you did. But I can tell you as a coach, for me, watching so many of you during that first time period, during my time period, you know, a lot of you that I coach aren't that much younger than I am. At that time, you thought I was about 55.
We just thought you were crotchety.
No, you were the crotch. Behave yourself, Fox. Okay, you did do well, though, in terms of your speaking. That was very good. I was impressed with that. It was one of the things I had to teach you in the bow seat of the boat. In those days, you could fit into the bow seat. I love ladies. Ladies and gentlemen, the pleasure truly was all mine. I'm sure every one of you has your own Rudy story. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Because I think that for me personally, when you're a coach, it isn't about necessarily always being the most popular. It isn't always even about being liked. It's truly first and foremost about being respected. If you have the respect, and this applies to being a parent as well. Okay? You can't buy respect. You earn it. And I've always believed that. I believe it to this day. I believe it with my own children and with my grandchildren. And it just keeps getting more and more special as you go on. Okay? Life is a journey. It has all kinds of little cycles. It's like Christmas. When you're a little kid, you don't even understand Christmas. Then you think Christmas is a really, really big deal. And there's Santa Claus, and then you're too cool for Santa Claus. And then when you get to be about maybe in your early 20s, Christmas starts having a place again. And then when you have kids, it has a really big place. And then when you have grandkids, you get to have a great place, but you get to leave them. So that's sort of what, for me, West Park rowing was. It was like Christmas. It was watching so many of you grow, become what you wanted to become. I've heard some stories from some of you here, and I appreciate some of your kindnesses and whatever. And, you know, I coached, I don't know whether all of you know this, but I coached for 45 years in a row. Yeah. And I never had a year. In 40 of those 45 years, I won some kind of a championship. And I think that actually 2 of those other years, I think I didn't win a championship, but crews or the teams that I had were so special, and there was a reason that maybe they could never have won. But they won me, because I respected them, because they tried their best. And I can't remember a time ever in coaching at West Park, particularly with the rowing program, certainly with my volleyball teams and the other sports that I coached, that I didn't have kids who tried their best. And you did it to each other. You drove each other. I mean, we had years at West Park in the early years where every kid in the school won a medal. We had some years where, I think there was a couple of years where we had, I remember one year we went to the Stokesbury Cup and we won 10 races. These are crazy things. I think I want to finish off with a little comment about our involvement, not just in winning points championships, doing what we did, and leaving a tradition for the kids that went later on. But we had a very good representation for a little Henley school like ours, in the West End of St. Catharines, which a lot of people didn't respect or didn't do it. Well, we made them respect us. We ended up with, I think, over 40 kids. I've got a list that I made here. Over 40 kids that represented Canada on national teams. We had some kids that were on as many as 4 or 5 national teams. And we had an Olympic gold medalist, Kevin Neufeld. We had silver medalists. We had gold medalists at the World Championships. We had lightweight medalists. And it's just amazing when I'm looking at the medal count of those people, how good you were, how great you were as athletes. And you know why? Because there's another thing that I believe. I've never met an athlete, I've never met anybody in my life that I coached that didn't want to be a champion.
And who inspired
You went into
that?
sports.
And who inspired it?
No, that's not the point, Brian. The point is, you can go out on the street, every kid wants to win. Every kid wants to be a champion. Okay? You just have to have the right tweaking of circumstances to make it happen.
You have to have the right coach.
Well, in the right circumstances, you have to have the right people. You have to do the right things. And you sometimes have to do some crazy things.
We're not going to do that.
We would go through a whole winter of training for 2 or 3 months, and all the other schools would start rowing, and that was the first time they started training or even saw each other. And we'd be together for 3 months through hell and high water, And then before we got underwater, though, I used to always tell them, well, now we got to go on the rock run. And if you don't do that, you can't go. None of you remember that, do you?
I think I passed out during that.
Well, you were last. I Folks, I'll say this to you again. The pleasure was all mine. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be a part of your life. And to me, West Park will never end. It'll go on in perpetuity, long after I'm gone. But don't be afraid and be proud to tell your kids the memories that you had.